Hey love, it's Angelica. Welcome or welcome back. If you don't know me, my name is Angelica. I post videos twice a week, every single week, all about growing long, healthy, natural hair. My hair is in twists currently, and I just tied it in a bun in case you're wondering. Today, we are going to be talking about the 6 most underrated tips/products. I didn't know which one to name it, but we're getting into it. The first most underrated product/tip to help you grow long, healthy hair is shampoo. I just got a new shampoo, not sponsored. Hopefully, will be sponsored soon. But I purchased this Pureology. It is actually a sulfate free shampoo. And this is only because I haven't had a shampoo that is sulfate free for a while. The reason why I'm saying shampoo is important and underrated is because people usually neglect it, especially because us naturals are much more prone to dryness than other types of hair textures. So, shampoo is not something we really look forward to. If you can, you want to skip it. Shampoo is really important because I always say this, but a clean scalp thrives, okay? So, you need to actually clean your scalp. You can go for a sulfate free shampoo. If it's somewhere in the middle of the week and you barely have any product on your hair, you can go for a co-wash. I would still put that under shampoo. If you wash your hair very frequently and you don't use too many products, again, you can go ahead and use a sulfate free shampoo. If you are very product heavy and you do wash and goes and you use gels in your hair or a lot of oils or butters in your hair, you want to use a sulfate shampoo like an Olaplex, or we have Amika's The Cure, Cream of Nature. So it is a very, very vital step because another thing is so many things don't come out great. Your hair might start to look a little bit more frizzy than usual because it has so much buildup on it. If you want to do a silk press, you might get more heat damage because your flat iron kind of drags. I'm sure you know that feeling at least once. It's probably happened to you. If you feel like the flat iron is kind of like gripping and it gets stuck as you're flat ironing the hair, it makes little dents. That's most likely because you have too much product still sitting on your hair. And if you use anything that has like any kind of silicones on it or anything like that, those things can kind of stick on your hair and they can prevent your hair from getting the adequate amount of moisture. And moisturized hair breaks less, which means if it doesn't break off, you're going to keep your hair longer. And also, if your scalp is clogged, it can stunt hair growth and certain parts of your hair might not be growing as much as they should. So this is highly underrated, not this specific one. I'm just holding it because it's here. But all shampoos, I think they are extremely underrated because shampoo is extremely vital for hair growth. Now I use shampoo more than ever and my hair is in its healthiest state ever. A little bonus on top is find a shampoo that actually has a treatment in it, like it has peppermint oil, which is nice and stimulating for the scalp, or it's something like this that says strength cure, so it has like a protein in it, or like Olaplex has bond building properties, so that while you're shampooing your hair, though it may be more drying than other products like a leave-in or any other kind of product for your hair, at least when it's sitting on your hair, it's actually doing something. And aside from cleaning your hair, it's actually adding some sort of benefits to your hair as well. So that's why I got this specific one as well, and that's why I like my Olaplex. Okay, so the next thing that can help you grow long, healthy hair that is underrated is consistency. This is one of the most important things. This is definitely not a product, it's a thing. Consistency will really make your hair grow longer, faster, and stronger. And this is because no matter how amazing a product is, whether it is a miracle product, you have found the holy grail product that promises it will grow your hair like I don't know what, something I haven't even found yet. If you are not consistent with it, it will not make your hair grow, or your hair might grow, but then you're going to go back to where you started, or something. Not to mention, healthy hair grows. So your hair might not, like, you might not see massive growth from this product that's promising to do amazing thing. Let's give an example of rice water. You use rice water twice, and you're like, I've used it twice, and it hasn't made my hair grow. So I'm going to stop using it. Only stop using something if it's not working. And by not working, I mean it's having adverse effects. Either it's making your hair dry, it's making your hair super frizzy, it makes your hair feel hard, all those kinds of things. For example, I do not need to be consistent with coconut oil because as soon as it sits on my hair, it makes my hair feel super brittle and dry. Like, I do not even need to give it time. I don't need to wait overnight. As soon as I put it on my hair feels horrible. So let's say you buy wild growth oil and it says it's going to help you grow your hair much faster than you usually do, and you use it for, let's say, 3 weeks, and maybe your hair looks a little healthier, but it's not any longer. At least to you, it doesn't look like it's longer. That is not long enough, okay? Because everybody's hair grows differently. Some people might see difference in 2 weeks. You might see a difference in 2 months. So especially for products like that, the bottle is not that big. I would suggest you finish the entire bottle before you see like, okay, this has actually made my hair grow a little bit more. And growth isn't everything, as much as even I want waist length hair. Sometimes when I use a product, I don't care if 2 months have passed and I haven't seen my hair grow faster. But if my hair looks overall healthier, if it looks overall thicker, that is good enough, because eventually, as your hair progresses, the more healthy hair you have, the better it's going to be. Because if you have longer hair but it's not very healthy, eventually when it's time for your trim, you're going to chop off all that damaged hair, all that hair that doesn't look so good. So please be consistent. I'm not even lying. Someone commented this on one of my videos about a product. I don't think it was even my oil. She just said, oh, I've been using this oil, like castor oil or something. I have been using this for 2 weeks and I haven't seen any results. Am I doing something wrong? Again, unless something terrible is happening to your hair or your hair doesn't like the product, 2 weeks or even 1 month is really not enough for you to tell if a product is actually doing something. And your routine is also included in consistency. So you need to do the same thing consistently every time. For example, my consistency is once a week or a maximum of 10 days, I will wash my hair with a shampoo. I will deep condition it. I will put oil on my scalp a few times, a minimum of 2 times a week. And I will always do a scalp massage with that. That is my routine. Consistency is key. Tip 3, again, every single one of these, I feel like I want to say it with every single tip, but every single one of these is extremely underrated, and this is detangling. Now, when I say detangling, I don't mean you have to add a detangling step to your routine, because I know it can be very time consuming, and even I don't do it all the time. Actually, I don't do it most of the time. So I don't mean before your wash day, go and do a whole detangling session and then wash your hair and then detangle again and do whatever you want to do. No, I just mean when you are detangling, whenever that is, whether it's in the shower, whether it's, first of all, do not detangle dry hair. That is just a no-no, not even included in here. But whenever you're detangling your hair, when it is nicely moisturized or slightly damp, you have to use a white tooth comb that doesn't have sharp teeth, because some of these cheap plastic combs, the way they're manufactured, they have like in between the teeth, they are really sharp. So it might not break your hair, but it might fray your hair and it can cause split ends. Also, using a comb that is too tiny or a comb that is too big that doesn't even let you get out the knots. But most importantly, you should be gentle. Now, this took me a while to do, because while I've always been gentle, or at least I thought I was being gentle, you have to hold your comb gently. See, I don't have a comb next to me right now because, as you can see, my hair is in twists. Okay, I have a brush. Let's say this is a wide tooth comb or a detangling brush. When you're detangling your hair, I would find that I wouldn't notice, but I would hold the comb very hard, like very strong, because my hair obviously is thick and I would be like, I don't want to drop the comb, so I would hold it so hard when I'm detangling, and I wouldn't realize that holding it with so much tension is actually adding too much pressure to the hair. So what you want to do is hold it literally, I'm sure you can see the difference, very lightly. When you detangle, hold it very lightly, and trust me, the knots are going to come up so much easier. And if you want to test this theory, just get any kind of headphones or any kind of cable that you have that's really tangled. Try and pull it tight and see how everything just knots up, and then just try and move it really loosely. I do this all the time with Christmas lights when I'm like struggling and trying to untangle my Christmas lights. I'm like, okay, relax. Just hold it gently and everything just untangles. That is the same way your hair tangles with the coils and twists. Once you just hold the comb super gently, it will detangle so much easier. The next underrated tip is getting a good trim. Now, the key word in this sentence here is good trim, not just getting a trim. I usually trim my hair 2 to 3 times a year. I've done it once before and it was terrible, okay? I have to do it at least 2 to 3 times a year. So most of the time I only need to do it twice, but if I see that I have a lot of split ends, I can add in a third trim. So fine, you can say you want to trim your hair every 6 to 8 weeks, but if 6 to 8 weeks down the line, you look at your hair and you have no split ends and you don't need a trim, you don't need a trim. Just skip it and continue to look at your hair every single week. And if maybe by week 12, your hair looks like it needs a trim, go ahead and give it a trim. First rule, only trim with hair shears. only trim with hair shears. I would rather you stay with your split ends for an extra couple weeks or a month than use like craft scissors or kitchen scissors. And you might be thinking, well, this is sharp enough, it's cutting paper, it's pretty sharp. The thing is, the way those are designed for cutting cloth and for cutting paper, your hair is not the same, okay? So when you cut once, it might be fine. When you open the scissors, once the cut is done, every single end of that hair is going to be frayed. I don't know if you've ever made your own ripped jeans, because I've definitely done it before. Like, I find jeans and they're not the way I want them to do, so you cut them, and then when you cut every single edge of where a pair of jeans is, every place where you cut, the little ends of cotton are sort of frayed. That's what's going to happen to your hair, okay? So your hair might look super neat and super sharp, and you'd be like, I don't know what people were talking about. My hair looks amazing. I used craft scissors and my hair is so even. But the thing is, those splits are almost microscopic. They are so tiny that even when you look at the ends of your hair, you probably won't tell because the splits are so tiny at the end of your hair. However, eventually the splits are going to keep going up and you're going to get so much damage. So please, only use hair cutting shears. If you want to know where you buy them, your local beauty supply store, hair store, and more importantly, Amazon. I buy my hair shears from Amazon because I don't find them here. So if you can go into your local beauty supply store and you find hair cutting shears there, then you can get those. Or if you find that you're not finding them, try going to the men's section where they have the barber tools, where they have the shavers. They might have hair cutting shears there, and that will make a difference. Second thing that goes into you having a good trim is actually trimming off most of the dead ends. Again, I have done this myself. You're like, it's taking me so long to grow my hair. I don't want to get rid of the length. And then you see that you've got, let's say, a full inch, which is like maybe that much, a full inch of damage, right? And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna cut half of the damage off, and then the next time I cut my hair, I'm going to cut more off so that I don't get rid of my length. The problem is you're still going to be encountering the same problem over and over again because the splits are going to keep going up and up and up. So even though you trim a little bit, the next time you're still going to have to trim a little bit more than you needed to because the splits are going to continue going up. Now, let's say you're like, okay, I can't handle this. It's really too much for me. Put a week in between, okay? Cut half an inch, deal with it, get used to your new length, and then in a week's time, cut off the next half of an inch. I'm not talking about cut off half an inch and then wait 5 months and then cut off the next part, because you're probably going to have an inch again. Instead of you just cutting off 1 inch, you're going to have to get rid of 1.5 inches or 2 inches because your splits went up and more of your hair got damaged. Your hair gets more tangled. Your hair doesn't look as shiny and as nice. Your hair starts to get a little bit thinner. So I would suggest just suck it up, close your eyes, and just be like, you know what? It's just hair. It's going to grow back. Just cut it off and it's going to be back much longer. This last time my trim was, I think, the biggest trim I've ever done since I've gone natural, because I was doing those sort of half trims where I'm like, it looks nice enough, but certain sections weren't as trimmed and healthy enough. This time I was like, I'm getting rid of it. If it's 3 inches, I'm cutting them off, because trust me, by the end of this year, honey, we are in January, we have 12 months. That's a potential 6 inches. 5 to 6 inches or more, depending on how fast or slow your hair grows. If you keep as much of that length as possible, that is actually a lot. So if you haven't done it yet, everybody loves New Year's resolutions, okay? We're in January. Cut those splits off. Okay, the 5th tip is similar to the 2nd tip, which is consistency, but it is one of the most important tips. And I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again because it is that important and that underrated. And this is patience, okay? Patience pays. And this is why this tip goes perfectly with having a routine, because having a routine can get extremely boring. And the thing is, whether you have a routine or not, your life will make a routine for you. So let's say your hair is really short, you feel like it's not growing, and what's leading to it not growing is you don't get trims. You're very violent when you comb it. You don't use any deep conditioner. You don't shampoo your hair very often, or you don't do it well. So many things going wrong. And then you come to my channel and you see my video about how rosemary oil can make your hair grow. And you use rosemary oil for like 3 weeks, 1 month, and you're like, okay, you said use it 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, I'm going to use it 2 to 3 times a week. And then it's been 1 month and you're like, girl, I have added this to my routine. I've been doing this stuff to my hair. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks and I'm not seeing a change. I don't think this thing works. Well, you want to go back to what you were doing before? because clearly that wasn't working. So try and be patient. I want to see a result in 2 weeks. If not, I'm not using it. So guess what? If you don't use it, those 3 months are still gonna pass, whether you use it or not. So you might as well do it, because the worst thing that could happen is your hair could grow at the normal rate and nothing much could happen, except you got in more scalp massages and you actually oiled your hair a little bit more. Maybe it's not longer, but maybe it's a little bit healthier. So please be patient, okay? Your hair will grow. Everybody's hair grows. I don't care if your hair has been the same length for 5 years. Your hair is probably breaking at the same rate that it is growing. Everybody's hair grows. Some people's hair just grows a little bit faster than others, which is fine because there's nothing you can do about your genetics. Which leads me to my final and favorite tip, which is, let's say it together, rosemary. I love rosemary so much, and I think it is one of the most underrated ingredients. You do not have to DIY it, because you can buy rosemary essential oil and then you can use that oil on your scalp. You can use the essential oil in your shampoo. You can use it in an oil mix. Rosemary is just so underrated. Rosemary actually has so much science behind it. You can literally Google rosemary oil and you will see so many different research studies that have been done about the good effects of rosemary on hair growth. So if you want to see actually how I make my rosemary oil, as well as my rosemary and moringa hair oil, watch the 2 videos on the side of the screen right here. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.